Congress, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification. One day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today.
We're going to draw up a basic platform, just basic, that black people can read. He says, we don't want to go real elaborate with all these essays and dissertations and all this stuff, because the brother gonna...
There was no union in that day. They worked from sun up until sundown, from can't see in the morning until can't see at night. They never had a day off. And on Sunday, they were allowed to sit down and sing about when they died, they wouldn't be slaves no more. When they died, they wouldn't be slaves no more. They'd go up in the sky, and every day would be Sunday. That's a shame. And it is that 310 years of slave labor that went in, that was my and your contribution into this particular economy and political system. They can give us the back pay. Let's join in. If this is what the Negro wants, let's join in. Let's show him how to struggle. Let's show him how to fight. Let's show him how to bring about a real revolution. Let's make him stop jiving.
I was captured in June of 1971.
The dignity of political prisoners who went to prison and sacrificed their lives for the movement and empowerment of their people, that one day you might be.
And I was framed for the ambush and shooting of 2 New York City policemen on May 19, 1971.
South African brothers to know that there are black political prisoners here in the United States.
I was convicted by all-white jury, and I was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison.
El himno nacional de los Estados Unidos describe a este país como la tierra de los hombres libres y la casa de los valientes. Tiene la población carcelaria más grande del planeta, y los valientes ciudadanos tienen temor de expresar sus opiniones por miedo a ser escuchados por alguno de los tantos aparatos de espionaje del Estado.
Que estás mintiendo.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets racked aloud, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
After I was sentenced to prison, it came to light that the United States government has carried out a counterintelligence program aimed at the black community, specifically at the Black Panther Party. Government to discredit the Black Panther Party in the eyes of the African community and in the eyes of the American public. It carried out a disinformation campaign to destroy its leadership, to imprison its leadership. And as a result of that, I myself was indicted for over 150 counts of conspiracy in 1968.
Los estadounidenses viven en una de las sociedades más sofisticadas y avanzadas que se haya inventado. Son vigilados constantemente no solo por agencias de gobierno, sino por grupos privados no lucrativos. No es de sorprender que hoy en día existan compañías que se especializan en mantener los centros de trabajo libres de sindicatos, haciendo alianzas con agencias del gobierno.
After 21 conspiracy trial that the United States government attempted to assassinate me while I was out on bail in relationship to that conspiracy indictment. I was forced to jump bail. I was forced to flee the country in 1970 in order to avoid prosecution and persecution by the United States government. This civil suit, after 5 years of litigation, resulted in the release of over 300,000 pages of FBI counterintelligence files. Files was proof that the United States government and the state of New York had lied to the jury, had withheld evidence in my favor, and had in effect framed me for something that they know that I did not do, which was the shooting of these 2 police officers.
El partido Pantera Negra, Black Panther Party, originalmente llamado Partido Pantera Negra de Autodefensa, popularmente conocido como Panteras Negras, es una organización política afroamericana de los Estados Unidos, fundada en Oakland, California, en octubre de 1966 por Huey P. Newton, Bobby Seale y David Hilliard. Las Panteras Negras fueron el resultado de la evolución del movimiento de derechos civiles que, a lo largo de los años 50 y 60, había movilizado a negros y blancos contra la segregación legal y la discriminación cotidiana que sufrían los afroamericanos en Estados Unidos.
The Black Panther Party for Self-Defense began in October of 1966 in Oakland, California. And the black community had no defense against racist attack, against police murder, and arbitrary arrest. Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale, who were 2 college students at Merritt College in Oakland, California, decided to form an organization to defend the black community and to defend the integrity of African people in the United States.
Seale y Newton comenzaron a trabajar en los programas comunitarios contra la pobreza del ayuntamiento de Oakland y al poco tiempo, en 1966, fundaban el Partido de las Panteras Negras para la Autodefensa.
So they went out into the streets and they recruited young black men off the streets and armed them. And they began to follow the police as the police patrolled the black community. As a result of this, the Oakland police and the California police departments began to harass the Black Panthers and harass those who supported the Black Panther Party.
El proyecto político inicial de las Panteras estaba centrado en poner en práctica la postura de Malcolm X, favorable a la autodefensa, en un contexto de impunidad policial y fuerte represión en los barrios negros de las grandes ciudades industriales de Estados Unidos. Y esto, precisamente, es lo que Newton y Seale desarrollaron con las patrullas de vigilancia policial. Las patrullas consistían en un grupo armado de las Panteras Negras que seguían a la policía en su ronda rutinaria por el gueto para evitar que se cometiesen atropellos. En la década de los años 60, las Panteras Negras trajeron una buena dosis de activismo y optimismo a una amplia parte de la comunidad afroamericana. Procuraron influir y hacer cambios a nivel de base, con programa de comida gratis, proporcionando ayuda a la tercera edad, centros de salud gratuitos y otros proyectos sociales.
Black Panther Party started programs in the African community in the United States to feed black children, to clothe black children, to educate black children, and of course, to take care of their health needs. the Black Panther Party was a cadre organization that had the basic and fundamental ideology of socialism and revolutionary nationalism.
En 1967, las Panteras Negras irrumpieron en la escena política estadounidense con un programa de 10 puntos en el que resumían su ideario político. 1. Queremos la libertad. Queremos el poder de determinar el destino de nuestra comunidad negra. 2. Queremos pleno empleo para nuestra gente. 3. Queremos el fin de la rapiña de nuestra comunidad negra por parte del hombre blanco. 4. Queremos viviendas decentes, adaptadas al ser humano. 5. Queremos para nuestra gente una educación que muestre la verdadera naturaleza de esta sociedad americana decadente. Queremos una educación que enseñe nuestra verdadera historia y nuestro papel en la sociedad actual. 6. Queremos una sanidad gratuita para todos los hombres negros y la gente oprimida. 7. Queremos que todos los hombres negros seamos exentos del servicio militar. 8. Queremos el fin inmediato de la brutalidad policial y del asesinato de la gente negra. 9. Queremos la libertad para todos los hombres negros detenidos en las prisiones y en las cárceles federales, estatales, de condado y municipales. 10. Queremos que toda la gente negra enviada a juicio sea juzgada en tribunales paritarios o de gente de la comunidad negra, como está previsto en la Constitución de los Estados Unidos. Queremos tierra, pan, vivienda, educación, vestido, justicia y paz. Cuando Huey Newton, el fundador de las BPP, Panteras Negras, fue arrestado bajo la acusación de asesinato, la comunidad negra se movilizó por cientos en una campaña que pedía su libertad. Las Panteras Negras crecieron.
The Black Panther Party believed in armed propaganda. That is, the Black Panther Party believed that we should use the gun to educate our people in the art of self-defense and in the political need to defend the African community in the United States.
Desafortunadamente, años de represión gubernamental y de guerra psicológica, orientada a hacer caer a las Panteras Negras, pasaron a ser uno de los objetivos centrales del programa de contrainsurgencia, COINTELIMPRO, y las tácticas de acoso se refinaron. No es que se acabaran los asaltos a tiros a las sedes de las Panteras, pero se complementaron con un programa extensivo de infiltraciones para favorecer los enfrentamientos internos en el partido.
America is a racist society, it's a white supremacist society, and the thing that Americans fear most, that white Americans feared the most, was armed black men and an armed black community. The state of California, one of the largest states in America, started to pass legislation to disarm the black community in California. Huey P. Newton and the leadership of the Black Panther Party decided to send an armed delegation to the state capitol to protest the passage of anti-gun laws in that state. And the appearance of Black Panthers in the legislature of California was broadcast across America and galvanized an entire generation of African Americans. And many of us joined the Black Panther Party as a result of this act.
En el gobierno de Lyndon B. Johnson, demasiados activistas antiguerra y antiimperialistas de los años 60 fueron víctimas de arrestos, palizas y asesinatos. Por esta razón, arraigaron gran desconfianza en el gobierno y sus aceptables planes para un cambio social. Mientras los grupos armados eran casi inexistentes en los primeros años del movimiento antiguerra, los violentos asaltos y las disimuladas manipulaciones por parte de la policía y otras autoridades ayudaron a que algunos de los grupos más comprometidos y con más experiencia cambiaran las actividades de base por acciones armadas.
By early 1968, the Black Panther Party had over 25 chapters in every major city in the United States. And the United States government decided to launch a nationwide program to destroy the Black Panther Party. This program was called the Counterintelligence Program, or COINTELPRO. This program was led by the Federal Bureau of Investigation of the United States Justice Department, or the FBI. And what they did is that they attempted to destroy the Black Panther Party by bringing indictments against its members, by conspiracy indictments, and by murder, and by intimidation. Of course, the Black Panthers fought back, and as a result of these confrontations, over 24 Black Panthers were killed and hundreds were in prison. But the Black Panther Party had the support of the Black community, of the African community. And as a result of that support, the Black Panther Party didn't dwindle, it grew.
De este modo nacieron grupos como los Weathermen Underground y el SLA, Symbionese Liberation Army, quienes fueron los autores de decenas de ataques violentos hacia individualidades e instituciones que estaban asociadas con el imperialismo estadounidense. A partir de agosto de 1967, el FBI empezó a actuar contra los grupos reivindicativos afroamericanos, y desde 1969, las Panteras Negras constituirán su principal objetivo en esta área. El 17 de enero de 1969, Bunchy Carter y John Higgins, responsables de la organización en Los Ángeles, son asesinados por miembros de United Slaves, un grupo nacionalista afroamericano rival creado en 1965. Lyndon B. Johnson y su gabinete mantuvieron una red de soplones en las zonas urbanas, programas modernos de espionaje.
Jump there. I was forced to flee the country in 1970 in order to avoid prosecution and persecution by the United States government. I went underground and became a leader and a commander in the Black Liberation Army. African people have always had an underground. We have always had a clandestine resistance movement to first slavery, and then segregation and apartheid, and against police brutality and racist terror by vigilante groups bent on murdering and intimidating and terrorizing African people.
Por varias décadas, el gobierno espió a los comunistas y socialistas, a quienes percibían como amenaza a la seguridad nacional. Pero los disturbios civiles de afroamericanos en los años 60 sembraron el pánico en Washington, D.C., donde miraron eso como un reto de los negros al sistema. El FBI reclutó en las ciudades del país a miles de informantes para que espiaran no a grupos específicos como las Panteras Negras, sino para que informaran sobre la atmósfera reinante en las zonas urbanas. Barberos y otros eran pagados para entregar datos específicos al gobierno sobre lo que la gente estaba pensando y haciendo. Esto fue un intento de espiar a toda una población, no con base a su pertenencia a alguna organización o a lo que estaban haciendo, sino porque eran negros y vivían en las zonas urbanas. Grandes jurados, acusaciones federales, severas condenas de cárcel por pequeñas acciones, visitas del FBI e interrogatorios. La fórmula animal que ha utilizado el gobierno para reprimir a los activistas por la liberación durante los últimos años continúa. ¿Acabará algún día? ¿Sobreviviremos a ella?
And during this period, many Black Liberation Army soldiers were killed and many more were captured and imprisoned. Among some of our imprisoned comrades was Sister Assata Shakur, who is now living in exile in Cuba. Sister Assata Shakur was captured in 1971, and she was freed by a unit of the Black Liberation Army from prison and smuggled out of the country to Cuba. Because of the revolutionary character and the revolutionary nature of the Cuban people, Assata Shakur lives free today in Cuba. The United States government and State Department has placed $1 million+ bounty on the head of Assata Shakur for anyone who could return her from Cuba.
Pocos movimientos revolucionarios de los años 60 han destilado tanto glamour underground como el Partido de las Panteras Negras. En la década de 1970, el partido caerá en numerosas escisiones y enfrentamientos, quedando reducido e inoperante. En 1989, un grupo originalmente escindido del partido forma el New Black Panther Party, NBPP, Nuevo Partido Pantera Negra, en Dallas, Texas, atacado por los restos del partido original. 10 años más tarde, el NBPP se integrará en la organización estadounidense panafricanista Nation of Islam, NOI. El 31 de julio de 2004 se forma con muchos de los antiguos miembros una nueva National Alliance of Black Panthers, pretendiendo revitalizar el antiguo movimiento.
So after 19 years, I won my freedom from incarceration, and I began to work in the liberation movement to free my incarcerated comrades, many of whom have been in prison for over 40 years. Black political prisoners in the United States represents the freedom fighters in a war that was waged against Black America since 1619. In the United States, America incarcerates over 2 million people, the majority of whom are of African descent. But most important, the United States has the longest held political prisoners on the planet Earth. The freedom of American political prisoners, of Black political prisoners in the United States, is as important to the democratic institutions of the United States as voting. Without the freedom of our political prisoners, there can be no liberation for people of African ancestry in the United States. Africans in the United States are a natural barrier, a natural bulwark against fascism and against racism and against sexism and against all of those forces that would deny people their rights and their civil liberties.
Las Panteras Negras siguen siendo un mito político para todos aquellos movimientos políticos y culturales que se desenvuelven en los guetos, cada vez más numerosos, de las grandes ciudades europeas y americanas.
White power for white people, black power for black people, 1967, the Black Panther Party, the movement, freedom.
We will not bow down to racism. We